We are joined right now by a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He played 9 seasons with the Detroit Lions. He is a 6-time Pro Bowler, a 4-time All-Pro. He set an NFL record with 1,964 receiving yards in 2012. He appears today courtesy of his company, Primitive Performance. It is a line of nano CBD products. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Megatron. Calvin Johnson. Calvin, always great to talk about or to talk to you. How you feeling, legend?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing, Jim?
I'm great, dude. I am great. So let me start by saying the Lions won a playoff game. They've got another one in their house. They are a win away from a shot at the Super Bowl. How hyped are you for this weekend? And does the whole thing seem even surreal, even to you?
It does, man. I'm just excited to be here in this, time in history because, this is like a long time coming for Detroit. I'm excited like a little guy. I'm at the game last week, like jumping up and down inside like a kid, and I feel like everybody, half the people like an hour before the game that were in their seat already standing up, probably had the same feeling because you could feel the anticipation.
We're talking to Calvin Johnson. It was great to see you at that game, and it was great to see Barry Sanders there, too. I could see how hyped you guys were. When you and I spoke in February, you mentioned how pleased you were that your relationship with the team had improved. Given that and everything you accomplished with that team, everything you invested in that franchise, how important was it for you to be there for that day and to share in the success of that team and be a part of it?
100%. It is extremely important. One to have my family back around the organization, to be here in such a time where and support my brother Dan as he's having success here. So to be here during such a monumental time here in Detroit's history, especially as it goes with the Lions, it's important. I'm glad that we're working in the right direction. And I'm extremely happy for this team right now.
I think that's great. I love hearing that. Calvin Johnson is joining us. You mentioned your brother Dan. Dan Campbell comes in, completely changes the culture of the team, sets the tone with his intensity. He's getting a ton of national run for it, and he should. Deservedly so. Let me ask you this, though. Should we be talking more about the GM, Brad Holmes, and the job he's done in rebuilding that roster?
Heck yeah. We saw what Brad was able to, put together, out there in L.A. I'm dang sure. I think everybody's able to see what he's doing here right now. I hope everybody was able to see that clip of Brad last week when he was, hyped up in the elevator going upstairs or coming downstairs after the game because, that's authentic, man, because he's been in it. He's been here. He's putting, obviously he's not a player, but blood, sweat, and tears, to keep cliche, he's doing that. He's doing it with Dan and his organization.
Calvin Johnson joining us. One of the deals, he made that big deal, of course. And Jared Goff, when he made that deal, it was not necessarily that well received. And then you look at Goff, Calvin, he's reinvented himself and his career. He's had some help. He's got some playmakers around him. But what stands out to you when you think about the wideouts that Jared Goff has? Guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and the rest of their playmakers. When you watch them, what do you think?
The one thing I would have to say that stands out to me is that, even though, you see some of the guys emerging, obviously, Amon-Ra, but the thing that I love about this group is that, one, Coach Randall L is having the guys ready because, it's not like they're getting the ball, each and every one of them, all the time. But you see that they're ready to make a play when their number is called. So they're always in tune. I put a lot of credit up to the receiver coach for keeping them dialed in, too.
The receiver coach who keeps them bought in, and these guys, credit to them for staying ready, right? Even when they're not getting the ball and they're all in. How much of that is about the overall culture and tone that Dan Campbell sets?
It 100% starts there. It permeates throughout the team. That where he came in from just super authentic, being himself. Not trying to impress anybody, but just being all about improving this team. And we've seen it. He's improved the team by putting great people around him. And, the one thing I love is just like I say, half of his coaching staff, if not more, are former players. Guys are going to buy in when you got somebody that's been there and done the things that they want to do. And you have that guy in front of you teaching you every day. You're going to buy in. And it's just a matter of time at that point before things just start to click.
We're talking to the Hall of Famer, Calvin Johnson. You mentioned Amon-Ra. Look, I think the guy's an absolute star. I don't play favorites. And as much as I've tried, I've never actually spoken to this dude, even though he's a Southern California guy. But I absolutely love the guy. What do you like best about his game, and what do you make of the dude overall?
I've only spent a little bit of time around, but from what I've known, what I've seen, what I've heard about the young man is that one kid, he wants to work. He wants to outwork everybody else. And on top of that, the kid seems like he's humble in nature. I've been around him. I've spoken to him. I know he likes to do his dance and all that stuff, but he's a hard-working kid, man, and that's what I appreciate most about him. And he wreaks havoc in the middle with his size and his strength.
Let me ask you something. You're the guy. You're the guy. Like, that's your reaction to him. How did he react to you? Did he pick your brain? Did he afford you the respect that you've earned and you deserved? Like, what was he like with you?
Man, a lot of guys they're kind of quiet. I don't know if it's just, they don't know what to say or ask or whatever. But I feel like I was like that with other guys too. Like, I'm just like, sometimes you like the guys you grew up watching. You just like you have a little, starstruck kind of moment. You don't know what to say. But I'm just trying to be around for those guys, just to be a shoulder to lean on. They got questions or what have you, of football or life. Like, I'm trying to be there be there as a post for them guys.
Well, to be fair, dude, you are Megatron. I can see where they might be like that. Calvin Johnson's joining us. So Sunday's game will be the second meeting between the Bucs and the Lions. Detroit 120-6 in week number 6. Calvin, Baker Mayfield's elevated his play since then. How do you see the matchup between the Bucs passing game and the Lions secondary, which at times has been inconsistent?
Yeah. I guess the thing that excited me more than anything going into the playoffs were I knew CJ was coming back, but I was seeing other guys start to emerge and make more and more plays in the secondary, especially in the later part of the season when it mattered. So I'm like, okay, I'm just hoping like that consistency, that little bit of momentum, that little bit of a heater, stays hot throughout the playoffs. And I'm just hoping that they're just getting hot at the right time back there. So that's what excites me. As far as Baker though, man, dang. The kid, like, he's having fun, like obviously like he was in college, so he can be dangerous. I watched the game last week. The kid, he has a lively arm, man. So you got to be able to hit him. You got to get him in the backfield, because if he's allowed to get outside the pocket and look downfield, or even just be in the pocket and look downfield, he can make some plays with his arm.
I like that analysis a lot. I feel the same way. Calvin Johnson joining us. You mentioned CJ. How important is it to get him back, not only for what he can do on the field, but for his attitude overall?
Yes, man. You got to love that attitude, especially as like one of your leaders, as your quarterback back there on the defense. You got to love that kind of energy. I feel like we had that here with Louis Delmas. When I was playing here in Detroit, but you got to have that warrior back there, that leader, that fearless guy, and that is CJ through and through. And he's a veteran, a playmaker. So I've been looking forward to getting him back on the field, man, because I love his energy. He brings it. Calvin,
let me ask you something. You came the closest of any player in NFL history to have 2,000 receiving yards in a single season. That was back in 2012. You came up just short. As you were tracking Tyreek Hill before he got hurt this year, are you at peace if he or somebody else breaks that record with the benefit of a 17th game? Or if that happens, are you going to kind of mentally put an asterisk on them and say, hey, man, you needed the extra game?
Oh, 100%. Shoot. That's what the record should be. It should say 16 games or whatever it is. That's what the record should say. But anyway, long story short, yeah, 100%. I know what I did. Honestly, though, Tyreek, if he hadn't got hurt, he might have had a chance to do it in the same amount of games. Honestly, the kid was balling this year. So it's definitely hanging up there within reach for these guys, especially with that extra game.
I appreciate you. I appreciate that response, too. Last thought, I know you're not in the prediction business, but do you want to call your shot? Do you want to go on record? How do you think this game's going to play out?
100% going down with the home team. I do believe that there's going to be probably a little bit of momentum shifts there, but at the end of the day, I'm giving it to the Lions. I would say I'm not a betting man, but I give it a 6-7 point spread.
It's interesting, right? The spread right now is 6.5. Last I saw, he's a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, 9 years with the Lions. He is all in. Megatron, Calvin Johnson joining us. Calvin, really appreciate you. Always great to have you on this show. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Yes, sir. The legend, Megatron. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell to be the first to know when we do upload a new video.